Go.
Are.
We're live. Spontaneous conversations.
Oh my goodness. Do you see the title? Because I just came up with it last second.
It really is happening.
It is happening. We are live. I cannot. Now, what we can do is we can actually invite some of our friends if we wanted to or
I love.
not. But anyways, this is exciting.
This is very exciting. I'm like, oh, we can definitely just have fun with this. I think
And
too,
they
the
used
whole other part was to be able to collab
yes.
and use like across both of our platforms.
Mm.
So I wonder how that works because it seems like when we go in through your link, it's just your platforms, and we go through my link, it's just my platforms. So I know that there's a way to fix that, but I don't know how yet. I think it's like add as collaborator instead of invite, but
Okay. Okay, we can try that. And until we figure it out, what we can do is 1 week we use my link and another week we use your link. This way we are on each other's spaces.
that's fair.
And in the meantime, figure out how to both go live and not only here, but have it across all of our platforms. There was a way to add them, but we have to upgrade to the other portion, or like there's a version where you can actually add more than one. And I chose YouTube because I know that here uh, we are least expected to show up. If we were to be on Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter Spaces or Facebook, we would have a lot of interactions and we'd be so distracted. And I figured, let's go somewhere where it gets lost in the ocean.
Yeah.
And then later on, as we become pros, then we can, go on LinkedIn and, it'd be like smooth.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
how
I
was your
like that. Oh my goodness. I like that idea. Spontaneous conversations also. Like, oh, we could do that. I know we're also thinking coffee conversations. We'll figure out a name.
for sure? And I figured it's AM somewhere in Australia, so they're having coffee. We're probably having a coffee before we go home after work, or tea or water. I'm
Yeah.
not going to promote this water. We'll hide the brand.
We're not sponsored yet. No.
Once they sponsor us, we can therefore, promote them. But how was your day? Did you work today?
Yeah, literally just came back home from work at Fairfax Water and was like, oh, time to switch gears. And I was on it. So, yeah, I was feeling a little bit of a drag today. The energy just
So what
died
was
for a
the
second.
highlight?
I was like, okay, let's
What
get
was
back.
the highlight of your day?
The highlight of my day is right now.
Okay, the highlight of the sunset. it's I think we're on the same time zone,
We
right?
are.
We are. Okay. 5:22. Well, I like that. I like that you're looking forward to discovering with me all of this. Is this considered AI?
No, this is
It's
just
not.
social media.
Okay, because I'm sure you know of Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Okay, so this morning I woke up before 5 a.m. I have a book where I have a weekly battle plan. And of course, every week the battle plan is wake up early, and most often I fail. Yesterday was my 20-year anniversary in this country.
That's
Uh,
huge.
it
Congratulations.
is. And I was feeling very off. I was running a self-analysis. When you run a computer, when you restart and it downloads, I felt like a 20-year-old computer uh, doing these downloads, doing this self-analysis assessment, what I've been doing for the past 20 years. And the energy was completely off. I was not excited. I was not necessarily because of the answers I was receiving. I was just feeling very, very down. And then I decided this morning to wake up super early and have the attitude, today is the first day for the rest of my life. This is decade number 3. This is number 3 of, how about we start taking notes? How about we writing goals down? What am I going to do? And I decided to wake up before 5, and I did. I decided to not skip breakfast, and I didn't. So a lot of small wins, and I was looking forward to our first Zoom or YouTube live. We're used to Zoom, and it's interesting. The timing couldn't have been better because it's like I feel like today it's the first day of me coming to the United States. That's how I feel. I feel
Oh,
not like a brand new person because I like my old person. Uh, but yes, I started to do a lot of things around the house, celebrate some friends' birthdays on Zooms, and attended an acting class. So let me tell you about this. Have you heard of an actor called Glenn Morshower?
no, but I'm bad with all actor names, so
You have to look him up. He's a friend of mine. We met on Clubhouse and we're friends. Today was his birthday. He's invited me to a lot of his classes. He has a lot of students that he teaches them acting. So today I was pretty much observing how actors play different roles from the Zoom. It was awesome, and that was my that was my morning, afternoon, and of course I got a lot of calls done. But yeah, so I ran this self analysis yesterday, and I was like, wow, this is what 20 years feel like in another country. Okay, okay, let's go. Next, next, next. Now, tell me about the most favorite part about your job. Like, what do you look forward the most when you go to work every day?
ooh, but before I do that, I have to ask the question back to you. It sounds like today, like the whole day was your highlight.
Yes.
But but is there like one specific like thing like you could just pull out for today?
Um,
Maybe it was just random silliness or
uh,
a pure joy moment or a aha, I finally did it moment.
the the not skipping breakfast part, because I'm very good at skipping food. Yeah, I tend to escape in the kitchen every time I want to run away from a life-changing event. And skipping breakfast is a life-changing event. It's not good because I love feeling good, feeling healthy, and eating food. Even though I eat very slow, very small portion, and it looks like I don't like food, I enjoy food, but I tend to skip it, and then it affects my energy. So my one of my biggest wins for the day was to have breakfast.
Simple. Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's like we had so much fun, but breakfast, that was the thing.
And I read, so pretty much I had wake up on time, meaning early, read half an hour, um, a book that it's not multifamily related, not real estate related, and have breakfast, and then oh yes, not that you asked that question. When I had breakfast, I felt as if my body was celebrating. It was the weirdest feeling. But when you are present and you er, listen to the inner voice, I feel like my body was celebrating and was thanking me for not punishing it. Yes, that's exactly what happened. I knew something happened. I couldn't remember it, but I'm glad you asked the question. So you have to pay attention. Pay attention. Moving forward, if there's something that you set your mind and heart and soul to get done, either you write it down on a piece of paper or mentally, and then after you complete that task, if you want to call it, or a goal, stop for a second, pause, not stop, stop is a bad word, pause for a second and pay attention. If your heart is beating faster or if your body is tingling a little bit, and that's pretty much your body telling you, thank you, we did this. Pay attention to that.
I love that. I love that. And I had this big moment today, which I totally completely glazed over, like I tend to do. And because my mind always races like way ahead past where I'm actually like
You're
present.
traveling. You're traveling.
Yeah, I'm always traveling into the future and everywhere but right now. But I had this moment today where I was like, wow, like in my past I really had this whole perfectionism thing. And I sat with a therapist. I figured out like where that came from and all that, and I worked through those things, but I didn't really notice that drive for like work, like I'm like where it's coming from is actually out of fear in a way. So if I'm not working, I feel like I'm not surviving. And I was like, wow, it's like that tied. And it's like still a leftover piece of the same stem the from perfectionism, but it's more of a drive towards work. And so I was like, oh, I need to re-look at my whole attitude towards work. I had one of those moments where it's like, oh, because I noticed in this journey, it was like, I feel really high when I'm working and doing lots of good things. And then like when I take a break, it's like, I feel this lull. So it's like the amount of work I do is giving me like the highs and lows emotionally. And I'm like, that's a weird tie. So I recognized that today, and that it was actually linked to like just my inner critical voice. And that inner voice was like literally linked to any kind of work or how I want to be and how critical I am towards myself when I'm not accomplishing. And I was like, wow, I could really stop being so serious. Like, be serious and get things done, but don't be so critical if you don't. Like, if you need rest, take it and be restful and peaceful about it.
So
Yeah.
give grace.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I need some more self compassion. So that was a really big thing for my day today. And I think there's a lot of that. I'm an Aries, and I do have a lot of that like fire energy to get things done.
You're one of those, huh?
Yeah, go, 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 go. Well, I mean, I think you notice, like, I turned that chapter in like this. That's just how it goes. All
So,
the time.
since you brought that up, why don't you enlighten the audience about the
Yes.
chapter? What is that? Tell us.
So I'm so excited. So Migena here, she
It'll be
and Brooke together, which I'm so thankful for both of them. They were chit-chatting away somewhere, and they were like, let's create a book, a collaboration for a bunch of women in real estate. And I was like, oh my goodness, I was just so glad to be included in that. And I'm really excited for the immigrants book that I know you're gonna like. What, you're flying out 2 days, 3 days or something, right? It's like right around the corner.
Yes, and I'm actually looking for the book so I can show people, but it's totally fine.
So that's super exciting. Yeah.
So I think the audience figured out that you are not a good salesperson because you did not sell this book on real estate at all, or you like being mysterious.
I lead with mystery.
When people called me, "Oh, you're a good salesperson," back in the day, I was so upset. I would get insulted. How dare they? I am not a salesperson. I love speaking to people. I'm not trying to sell anything. Now it's one of the highest compliments like I could receive when someone says, "Hey, you're a pretty good salesperson." I'm like, "Well, thank you. Yay. I worked hard for this naturally." So for everyone in the audience, Steph and I go way back. We connected through the 10x community, and we've been in each other's lives 24/7. And I'm not exaggerating. We are in each other's life 24/7 through different WhatsApp groups that we collectively have created. We support one another. Steph runs this amazing WhatsApp group with only women. Only women are allowed in that space. And that was born because her and I were talking one day on my way to work. I'm in New York. Steph is in Washington, in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just chit chatting like now, having these spontaneous conversations. And another one of those moments where we are both agreeing that it is normal to have self doubt. It is normal to feel that you're not fully, to feel like you're not fully showing up in the world for your community, for your family, for your ecosystem, to feel as if you are completely clueless where you are in spaces with a lot of people who are so far ahead in the real estate space. And as we both were extremely excited that we could relate, and I was like, Steph, you're awesome. You're like everyone's number one cheerleader. And Brooke is right there, right on the top with us. I'm like, just keep doing what you're doing. This is amazing. 2 minutes later, I received this invite to this WhatsApp group. And like, oh, what is this MF? I'm like, who's cursing at me? I'm like, no, that's not what that is. I think that's multifamily. I think that's one of those abbreviations. And then Steph goes, I'm inspired. Like our conversation inspired me. I'm doing this. And we are now at least 350 women later. 80% of them we haven't met in real life yet. But think about the magic and the power of creating a community, especially of human beings nationally and some internationally that we don't even know, who just have this open door policy as long as you follow some of the rules, which we won't go into at the moment. And now Steph runs this amazing WhatsApp group. We're a part of that. And one of the many things that we work together is coming up with these ideas. She has this amazing ladies' night every Thursday where she invites a guest or many guests. And then Brooke and I are chit-chatting on WhatsApp, and they love this collaboration that I'm a part of as a powerful female immigrant, along with 23 other powerful female immigrants, I'm sorry. And then I'm like, Brooke, we need to write a book about real estate. I said, I have this idea. We should write this book. And of course, Brooke is a doer, and I'm not a doer. Let's go. Let's do this. How are we going to do this? And she's already 55,000 steps ahead of me. She's like, we need the publisher and this and that. I'm like, okay, I got the publisher. I got this. Let's get this. Let's get that done. And next thing you know, we are now 25 women collectively writing chapters about our journey into real estate. We had our first call with a publisher 2 days ago, and Stephanie already submitted her chapter. I don't even have the title yet. I am like, my God, I have catching up to do. So for everyone that's listening to us, we are going to launch this amazing project, the first of many, on August 1st in Dallas. It's going to be epic. I cannot wait to celebrate with all of these women. And again, 85% of them we don't even know. We've never met in real life. So
I'm like so excited to really meet everyone because like
yes.
I've gotten so close to some of them, but it's only been virtually. And then to be able to read their stories and like also learn a little bit more about the kind of real estate that they like to do and bring us together. Oh, I'm really excited about this project. And very
And
excited that I was included in it.
and again, look, when people say, "Oh, thank you for including me," I get it. It's nice, but I mean, this needs to be said now here on this space. I mean, we would not have this book without you in it. Like, you're a huge part of of the inspiration, because yes, you can have someone with an idea, you can have someone that executes the idea, but at the end of the day, it's about all of us being leaders in our own spaces and coming together. And honestly, I would not consider it a book, a collaboration, if you're not a part of it. And so many other women that we won't mention for privacy reasons, because we have not asked permission if we could share their names publicly. So we are being respectful of that. But I have the green light from Brooke, and we'll bring her on board one of these days so she could, make us all smile with her awesome energy. But yes, again, it's not about including you, Stephanie. You're part of the book. Like, it's not, oh, it's this idea and let's decide who comes in. No, it's natural. Like, when your mouse or finger just keeps adding the participants on that group that we have now, specifically designed for the women in the book. It's not about, like, to me, when I created the space, I think Brooke created that space and then we both added. It was just like, okay, it wasn't like, who am I going to invite? It was just like, all right, done. Because you're part of the book. You don't even know it. Like, you didn't even know that you were going to be a part of it. I didn't even ask you. I don't think I asked you. I just say here, and you're like, oh, we're in the book.
Yep.
And it's not about being included. It's about, as I said on the call with the publisher, yes, it starts with us, but at the end of the day, success, it's measured by people like you. And I really mean it, because when you are in that space and you don't even think, who would you rather have in this journey than every single person that's part of that project has played a significant role in my life. I'm speaking about the women that I added, not invited or included. I mean, who am I? I love being included, because the way I see it, Steph, is I could invite you into this idea that I have, but if you don't accept that invitation, and then you say, no, I'm good, I'm not interested, or other than when someone is busy, and that's a different story. But I'm speaking specifically, if I want you so bad to be part of my idea, and let's build together, let's grow together, and if you say no, then there goes my idea.
It takes a team again, right? Like,
Exactly. So when you were writing this chapter, Steph, um, what did you try to highlight? The obstacles, or the success of where you've come so far? Like, what did you stress the most thinking about that?
I think for me, it was really about showing my heart
Mm.
more than anything, because I wouldn't be in real estate at all if it weren't for my parents showing me the possibility of real estate. I wouldn't know about it, and the whole fact of like why I want to grow wealth. Like, I had to showcase that piece of me, um, because it's like, well, I want to end poverty. Well, what is
Mm.
the best way to help with that? and I've studied so many different cases and causes. What I found is real estate, but real estate isn't just an avenue to grow wealth financially for each individual investor. There's ways to invest in multifamily where you can make real impact for the people who live there. And for those reasons, I was like, let's do some educating about environmental, social, and governance when it comes to passive multifamily investing. And also, by the way, you can do passive multifamily investing, right? Like, I knew it was possible because of my background as a master's in real estate development, but we focused on the development piece. And I even knew right there, I was sitting in all my classes and I was like, the developer takes on way too much risk for my liking. I was like, I'm not that person. I was like, who gets to be the people that buy it from the developer? Like, sign me up for that. I want that book. And, it took me a bit. And honestly, there was a lot of self-belief I needed to get from there to where I am now. And, I didn't believe that people would actually like come alongside me and invest with me to do something like that. I was like, who am I? I don't know. I'm just some little lady. I look 10 years younger than I am,
Yes,
no one will take me seriously. So I kept having those feelings about myself and I wasn't taking myself seriously. And if you don't take yourself seriously, you're never going to get to where you want to go as fast as you want to be there. So it took me a second to get there. But once I understood, okay, well, here's this, how to structure a syndication fund and how to do these things, everything changed. And I needed two people to show up in my life. And I'm so thankful for the internet because they wouldn't have if they didn't. And the first was Tony Robbins and the second was Grant Cardone. I needed them both.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So, with Grant, it's like, okay, I follow him to a degree. He says some crazy things. And sometimes I'm like, I don't agree with what you said, but you still know your stuff. So I'm going to listen to these things. But yeah, I still think he's so smart to watch.
What happened was he had charged
and
for just like small portion of hours.
So I'm so thankful for both of them because one changed my limiting beliefs, and the other was like, by the way, you can do it, and this is how.
But then,
what a great
all of that with my knowledge, and I've had a exponential growth from there. So.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, it's kind of like taking everything that I learned and putting it into one spot.
I should just wait till Ashley. I told him from now on, obviously.
I love it.
Put it on my stuff.
And it's funny you mentioned that because I attended my first Tony Robbins event 11/11/21, and I attended the first real estate summit from Grant Cardone a month later.
I didn't know that about you until today. So you had Tony and then same situation.
Yes.
I had, it was a 6-month gap.
Mine was not even exactly a month.
Oh my goodness. Talking about that must have been a double slap in the face in a way, but in the best possible way. My life is different.
I am like, who am I? Why am I? What am I? When am I? That fill in the blank, right? And both events were sold out.
Yeah, no.
There was no ticket to go to Tony Robbins. I found out about the event the day before on Clubhouse.
Yeah, well, they were. He was doing it fine before. I think he got.
I said, I'm going. So I first booked my hotel and flight without even having a ticket.
It was literally for 5.
and I had to get off a subway station when a salesperson from Tony's team said, "We found a ticket for you. Do you have a credit card?" I am at Yankee Stadium. I'll never forget. I said, "Let me get off this stop. This is not my stop, but I don't want to lose you because I have a hotel room, which was the last room. And I get this flight like last minute, get the ticket, bring myself at a Tony Robbins event, never read anything about him, didn't know anything about Tony Robbins other than there's this guy, Tony Robbins, that speak on big stages. That's it. And I decided, it was a personal choice. I said, I don't want to know anything about this guy other than I'm going to go in person and take it from there. I don't want any outside influences, for better or for worse, to have that impact. I want to be like this green person going in. My goodness. I was like, where am I? This is insane. I am questioning everything. And then at the same time, all these affirmations and the beautiful people that I met there. Oh my God, what an amazing event. Then I'm on Clubhouse and Grant Cardone started to speak about the real estate summit. Of course, I don't have a ticket. Then I wanted to go so bad. Guess what? The tickets are sold out. I can't find a ticket. What can I do? I was like, oh, let me go and reach out to Grant directly. He's on Clubhouse all the time. Let me send him a message. So I messaged him on a Clubhouse feature. You can actually message people. It's called DMing them. And of course, I said, my name is so-and-so. I finally got approved for some time off. I would love to attend the summit. I would love to buy a ticket, but they're sold out. And I sent it, closed my eyes, hit send, and then I think within the same day or the next day, I have to look back at the messages, Grant Cardone responds. I am like, are you kidding me? Hey, Migena, sure, reach out to Annie. Here is her email. And she'll get you a ticket for the sales price. We'll honor it because tickets went back on a wait list at 4 times the price. I cannot believe it. So you saying that you needed 2 people in your life, for me, I wasn't looking for 2 people in my life. I was not looking for anything. I was aware that where I was not who I was meant to be. I was so much more than that. I was grateful for everything up to that point, but I knew there was this big void and there was this magic waiting to happen. I just didn't know. And I decided to listen to my inner voice, to my instinct. And if that guy's name, Tony Robbins, kept coming up, and 1111 are numbers that I see all the time, I said, this is happening now. And now we're here.
That is so wild. That is so wild. It's interesting that we had the same 2 people that we needed. I was looking for them, but you found them energetically. So that's so awesome. So to answer your other question
Yes.
from a while ago, you asked me about my job and what's my favorite part of my job. So I just feel like I'm so mission driven. I just love the mission of what I do every day. Like I bring water to people every single day. You know, I make sure it's clean and distributed and that the pipelines work and everything is safe and that there's nothing's leaking. So I bring clean water to people. And I know from just studying a lot about poverty, like that's a huge part. Like there's a few steps, and water has an impact not just for just drinking water, but it's women's rights. It's peace. It's climate. It's environment. It's being able to have crops, so food. It's everything. So I know it feels like a stretch to be like, water is world peace, but in a way, if somebody doesn't have water and somebody does, it can get pretty wild when you think about the effects. So that's what I love about my job. I'm just mission driven. I feel like it doesn't matter what I do in my life now. It's all mission driven right now, and I love that. How
That is
about you?
so that is so profound. I love that so much. And yes, I mean, we are water for the most part. So thank you for your contribution.
Thank you, but I would like to argue I'm like 50% chocolate cake today.
Oh, you are? Well, today, let me see, what am I today? Today I'm a combination of Albanian desserts, Albanian food, and some water, like 30% water today. The rest is desserts, sweets. Um, I wow, I don't provide clean water for the world, that's for sure, but I do provide a clean heart. I show up as my true self and day out. And my first podcast where I appear as a guest um, was an invitation from a 14-year-old boy from Algeria. He has a show called Muhammad Talks. Muhammad is 14 going on 2,000 years old. You need to look him up. He is absolutely magical, brilliant. My favorite question from Muhammad is, Miss Migena, he's adorable. Miss Migena, now that you are, grown up, and I can't remember the exact way he worded the question, but he asks me, how do you feel about yourself now that you know yourself, now that you're grown up and you've done all these amazing things? And it got me thinking. It was food for thought. I was like, Mohammed, I said, I wake up every day looking forward to getting to know myself better the next day and the next day and the next day. I said, I don't fully know myself and I don't want to. He's like, oh. and wow, that is so cool, Miss Migena. Because usually people say, oh, I know I'm this, I know I'm that. But you're like, you know who you are, but not fully. I said, no, I'm not. I said, because talking to you right now, I said, made me realize something else about myself. And when I attend these events, when I read a book, when I watch a movie, I am always checking in with myself. How did I feel and why did I feel that way? And I'm learning something new about myself. So in the process of conversations and experiences, it's truthfully a journey about our own treasure being discovered, which is us at the core. So far, what's been a constant about me and why I do what I do is, honestly, I love making people smile and laugh. And if I am in conversations where at least once throughout that conversation I didn't make that other person smile or laugh, I don't feel complete. And to me, that's fuel for my energy, and I feed off of other people's happiness. Like, I'm happy when they're happy, regardless if I am connecting them with a recruiter, with their next business partner, or talking to them about a book. opportunity, or anyone and everyone really. For me, it's like I love when people say, "Oh, Migena is here," and then I say something silly or I share something and people just smile. I'm like, "Oh, that's cool!" Like I love that feeling so much, and it's what keeps me going because, as my mom says, life feels very short when you live in it in full harmony and happiness, and it's very long when you're surrounded by unhappy people and therefore you're not happy. So in a selfish way, I want to create these experiences where life feels very short and you want to have more of it versus being long and be like, oh my god, this is draggy. So I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, this is what I look forward all the time. And that's why it's not, oh, I'm including, it's important for me for you to be a part of it, because if you're not a part of it, then I'm not happy. And if I'm not happy, I cannot make others happy. So in a way, you are a contributor to a lot of other people's happiness through what you're doing in my presence. So it's this 360 where everything is connected. And if there is a disconnect, then there's no shape and you just like lost in the universe. So I think that's my glue, smiles and just feel good.
I love watching you light up as you talk about that. Yeah. Also, that reminded me of something that Michelle Obama said in her book Becoming, which I was like, yeah, how come we should all have like a similar attitude, right? Like she asks, or she said something along the lines of, people always ask, what are you going to be when you grow up? As if you only going to become one thing and you're going to just know the answer when you're so young. And it's not about becoming that one thing. It's becoming more and more of who you are. It's not about the career you are, but becoming more and more yourself.
Oh,
and I feel like you pretty much said that's a very similar message, which I think is so
I love it. I haven't read that book.
Happiness.
I haven't read that book, but it's on my list. I have a lot of books. I have a tendency to start a book and then start another book. And like I have like 5 books that I am in the middle of reading. And depending on my mood for the day, I'm like, today I'm feeling like who, not how. And then tomorrow I feel like $100 million sale. And then let me go read a Grant Cardone book. And now I get to say, let me read my own book with other women. And one secret, I never read my chapter.
Oh, you don't read it?
I don't read my chapter. I wrote my chapter on volume 1. I read it to my mother. She approves it while crying. And then I close my eyes. Of course, I have this thing, let me close my eyes and hit send before I change my mind. And I never go back to it and be like, oh, let me go read my chapter. Like I don't know if I'm shy. Like I think I'm shy. Like I just don't want to read my chapter. I'm like, no, I'm not reading this. I read every other chapter except my own. I'm like, I can't, because
would you like for me to read it to you?
One of these days you probably could. I actually gave you a copy when we met in New York.
I did. I read the whole book. It was amazing.
So what did you think of my chapter?
I did. I read it.
Oh my goodness.
It was very sweet. But yeah, that's an amazing story.
Oh, thank you. I am so blessed to be in the presence of so many amazing women, unique stories, strong. When you think your story is unique and you going through ABC, it's like, oh my goodness, then you read their stories and you're like, oh, I better not complain. And you use that as strength, as a reminder when on certain days you feel that it's tough to get up, it's tough to show up, it's tough to to even show up for yourself, and let alone, and it gets tricky because as humans, we show up for others a lot quicker than we show up for ourselves. And then you come back to earth, and then you're like, wait a second, I know I showed up for others, but what if I showed up for myself first? How much better would I have shown up for the other people? So now I did two or more a disservice because I have showed up for them and zero showed up for me. So you do the math. And when I am in the presence of these women and you're one of them and you're thinking globally, you're thinking water, you're thinking live, I'm like, why am I having a hard time getting up from a comfortable bed, clean sheets? Let's go. Come on. I used to at some point sleep on the floor when there were so many of us in the same apartment, or, always had clean sheets, white, always. But like the simplest things that we take for granted. And then these stories are so inspirational, and I'm grateful that I get to have my story in the mix, and hopefully change a person's perspective about life, especially women, especially immigrants who come here scared with all the unknowns and only with themselves. And yeah, it's been awesome, and it's led to you and I now being in the same book, collaborating together, and learning from one another, showing up with so many imperfections, and there's so much beauty in it. And I guess the reason why I don't read my chapter is because I know it's very imperfect. It is my story, and I love it, and I honor it, and it's sacred. But I do know for a fact that I am not an author, but I am a storyteller. So I feel like I'd rather tell my story than read it from the book, because it puts me into that author mode. And I'm like, no, I always want to tell stories. So I think that's why I'm avoiding it. But this has been awesome. We've been live for an hour.
I know. Didn't we say we were going to do this for only 45 minutes?
Well, technical difficulties. So let's just...
I had a feeling. I don't know, feel so relaxed.
This is so cool, right?
Yeah.
So I cannot wait to study this a little bit, and see what we can do better next time, and show up and continue to be spontaneous and talk about our days, and bring some people on board. And
yeah, why not? I think it'll be just a great little networking kind of thing at some point too. But at minimum, like, we'll get to hang out and just catch up, because I feel like the speed of growing your network so that you can connect more people to amazing investments, like, there's a lot of work to do in that. It sounds very simple, but it's very involved.
yes,
And it seems like even though you're talking to so many people every day, it can feel a little isolating at the same time.
Oh, so true.
So it's like, I'm isolated, I'm alone, but I talk to how many people? But nobody, like, because you're trying to get to know so many people, you're not going to have like a deeper relationship with all the people that you talk to. It's impossible. And so I was feeling like this extreme isolation, like the other day or so. Like, what is happening? And I was like, oh my goodness, this couldn't have come at a better time. I was like, I think it's more about like building, like, some people, there's the deep wells. And I'm like, I think we were meant to be a deeper well. And I'm so glad to build that with you through this.
And again, I am very, very honored that you called me that day, and you came up with this idea that we should try and go live on different social platforms. And I say, yeah, let's have coffee live. Why not? We do it all the time. And how many times do we say, oh, I wish I wrote that down. Oh, I wish I recorded this.
Yes.
And then the excuse is, well, it's meant to be only for a one time where, you don't get to repeat it. And then I'm like, yeah, but I still wish I remembered that one sentence, that one takeaway from that conversation. And thanks to social media and people like yourself who hold me accountable without even knowing, you are contributing to me. It's not about getting out of the comfort zone, because we have these conversations all the time on Zooms, but gift a little bit of our conversations to anyone and everyone that comes across this page and wants to do something different or watch something different. And it's exciting to know that a lot of people out there that we don't know get to see us speaking, growing together, getting to know each other, being stronger friends, stronger support systems for one another, and having similar missions. We are in alignment. We want to help the world, regardless of where the country is located. Every single human being needs water, and every single human being needs financial stability. So we are like,
And love, girl. You're bringing all the love.
Love. And love is important. It's very important.
Yes.
And yes, and we want to pretty much reintroduce ourselves to the world, because people like and love to do business with the ones they trust and they like. And I feel when we have these conversations that are very spontaneous, not scripted, and we are showing up as our true selves, with our imperfections and our pure hearts, we will continue, because we already have started the journey of attracting our kind of people. But we are continuing to attract many more to join the mission. We cannot do it alone. We are going to share multifamily investment opportunities. We are going to share our struggles. We're going to share conversations we have with brokers, how we struggle underwriting deals, but we do it anyway through the help of our friends that we love so much and support, and vice versa. So the idea here is, if whoever you are that's looking out there and you feel lost, you feel you don't know where to start, you have two ladies here who know exactly how you feel.
Yep.
And the difference between us 2 years ago and us today is that one day, without even deciding what day of the week that was going to be, what time of the day that was going to be, we both woke up at different times, had different clothes, had different coffee flavors, but we had the same attitude. We're going to do this. We don't know how, we don't know when, we don't know who is going to be there on the receiving end, but we know that this ends now, and we're going to give this real estate game a shot, and we're going to play. We don't know if we're going to be the goalie, if we're going to be on the defense, on the offense, or if we're going to attack. But guess what? We're going to do
position, no idea, but we're playing it big.
We are. And what a beautiful way to end it. And any closing remarks for today, Steph?
Peace, love, and joy.
There you go. Now that is cool. We'll see you next time. whenever that time is.
We said every time 1 month.
No, we got to do this at least twice a month. This is every other week.
Okay, fine by me. Because I thought we were originally by once a month, but I could do every other week. That's better.
Well, it's like when we wanted to start in the multifamily, we said, well, let me attend an event a year, see how that goes. And you find yourself a week later signed up for 50 events a year. And you're like, wait, what? I thought I was going to one, and now I find myself every other weekend. So this is not different.
In this space is real.
This is not different. I'm gonna miss you. I can't wait a month to be like.
I know. That's why I'm gonna miss this too much. Okay. Well, in that case, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
In a couple of weeks. Yes. Stay tuned. Good night.
Good night.